Hey parents, hope you're doing great. The one thing that jitters even parents, sometimes even more than the children or the students, is the exams. It could be any exams, but particularly the board exams, because they have a significant impact in the future of the child, especially in our country, regards to their further admissions processes and scholarships, etc. The board exam results are of paramount importance. And sometimes also it becomes a prestige issue. बच्चे के कितने marks आए board exam. So, do you know how many students take the board exam every year? Whether it's 1 lakh, 10 lakhs? Well, as per a survey a few years back, more than 26 lakhs 36,883 students appeared for the CBSE examination. And if you add the numbers from the state, ICSE, and other central boards, the number is just mind boggling. More than 1 crore students every year. Now, imagine the amount of pressure your child might be facing before and during boards with such a competition. So, as a parent, you cannot change the situation, but you can, however, take small steps to make it easier for your child. In this video, we are going to discuss 9 different ways that can help you to empower your child when he's preparing for exams, particularly the board exams. That would reduce the stress not only for your child but also for you and the entire family. So, are you ready to learn these tips? Now let's begin with 9 ways to help your child do well in board exams. First, let's hear a story. So, Radhika was a 13-year class 8 student with a brilliant aptitude. And she was a sincere student and spent 3-4 hours daily preparing for exams. However, she was never able to complete a mathematics paper. Her mom tried various ways to help her increase her efficiency in the subject, but nothing seemed to work. So, Radhika's mom then consulted a friend about this issue, who forwarded her this particular video. And this particular video, let's see, helps Radhika's mom, and probably it could help you also. Let's jump in and try to understand the different ways that you can use to help your child. So this is a large number of students that are giving exams every year all over the country. So the first tip that I have for you as a parent is help them manage their time. So time management is the biggest problem that are faced by students during their 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, and even during college. There's so many things to juggle during the day, from school or college or homework and exams to tuitions, coaching, extracurricular activities. Working without a structure ends up making the preparation chaotic and unplanned. So as a parent, you can lend a helping hand to build a useful schedule for the days and weeks to help them efficiently utilize their time. So I recently met a student, Mehak, who is around 17 years old, and she was a humanities student, and she also pursued dance as a passionate hobby. So she wanted to pursue a degree in mass communication after class 12, yet a score that started dropping sharply in the class 12 as compared to the 11th grade. So her mother decided to step in and inquired about her entire schedule. She wrote down the number of hours she was spending on each activity, like school, dance class, tuition, self-study, and noticed that her tuitions were taking a toll on her and she was actually better with self-study. So Mehak's mom, she reduced her tuitions to 3 days a week so that Mehak could get the support she required, yet at the same time, get some time for self-study. Also, she divided her subjects like history, psychology, home science, geography, and English, which are the subjects, per day, and kept 30 minutes even for newspaper or editorial reading, which will be helpful for her entrances. And she also made sure that she could attend dance classes only on weekends to maintain a balance. So gradually, Mehak's score started improving, and even she was feeling more organized in her life. So it's very important to realize the areas the child is facing issues. Time management could be very, very important. Like time management is also a lot about priority management. Second point is being there works like magic. So being there with the child doesn't mean hovering around your child or watching every action that he is doing and trying to control him. More than that is required. Definitely we need to be aware as parents. So not just physically we need to be there with the child, but also emotionally. And let's try to understand what this being there means actually. Because if we are there with the child, then physically but also emotionally can have extremely positive effects on them. Because they look up to us as adults or as role models. And if you have set the right example and the right emotional connection is there with the child, it can really help the child a lot. Especially students, they face an intense amount of anxiety and pressure during the exam preparation phase. So knowing that someone is always for them can make a huge difference to their mental well-being. So as a parent, it is time to minimize your outings, put a hold on your favorite TV shows and family vacations, and it is a time to constantly support your child. Be aware of the state of mind and be available emotionally whenever they need you. So a few months back, I met a lady whose daughter Radhika was appearing for board exam this year. She's going to appear this year. And according to her, she was spending more and more time with her daughter and made it a point to not only discuss her progress regularly, but even spend time doing certain activities that could relax Radhika and have a good bonding between the mother and the daughter. So do remember, obviously, not to overdo it. Learn to give appropriate space to the child whenever required. That's very important. Please use the right words. Of course, you must have heard this saying that a lot of people say that you should never compare a child with others. So this statement has a lot of merit because every child is unique, right? And you should celebrate their differences and uniqueness. So there could be a designer, writer, player, athlete, or even a dancer in a child. So even if a child is not able to score high grades in a particular subject, there could be a possibility of him or her being brilliant in something else. Right? Even the nature is designed like that. If you see, even if a person is visually handicapped, then he will have some other sense of hearing very, very prominent. Maybe hearing or some other senses may work very well, and which can help him overcome that also. So that is how nature or God has designed all of us, that we are all unique. So even if a child is not good at academics, not necessarily he may be good at sports or something. Yeah, definitely exams में उनको एक basic mark clear करना है. But let's not expect everyone to become a topper. Right? It's very important that we use the right words. So even if a child is not able to score high grades in a particular subject, there could be a possibility कि वो कहीं और पे score कर सकते. Every child has their own strengths. Allowing them to build on them can help them be successful in the long run. Because to be honest, marks are not the only criteria of success in life. And we should help them identifying their strength area. Probably, you could take up your psychometric test, astrology. These could help you to understand what the child's strengths and weaknesses are, what are the possible career options for him. That could be mainstream or could be alternative. So there are statements that one should avoid. Your future depends on this exam. If you want to do well in this life, you must do well in the exams. So these kind of statements is not good. Definitely, it's good to help them understand the importance of these exams, but using the right words is very important. It should not be done at the expense of the well-being. The child is more important to us than the result of his exam. The child should always feel that whatever my result is, definitely my parents want me to do well, but they are with me whatever happens. It should not be like अच्छा नहीं किया तो अच्छा नहीं होगा, or like giving them negative statements. These statements could scare them and create a feeling of fear, which might actually hamper their performance, their confidence, and even your relationship with them. So simply use statements like put your best. It is just an exam. Your future will depend on your hard work and not just marks. The whole idea, the Indian education system, I feel that it's more focused towards marks, but the focus as a parent also, as a teacher in the education system, should be the learning. What is the learning potential, the learning outcomes that is happening as a result of the education being provided? That's what my personal take is. Okay, let's move on to the fourth point. Monitor their progress and help them create self-help aids. So weekly assessments can help in mapping a child's progress and figuring out the weak areas. So motivate your child to take up regular mock tests in a proper exam-like setting and regularly solve last year's question papers. So make sure that they attempt the paper within that time limit only. No extra time should be allowed. Right? So help them, to monitor करने के लिए that simulation kind of a setting, where they could take the exam the same timing in the same environment could be very good. So remember that solving mock papers is an effective solution only if they use them to critically evaluate the performance and found out the weak area. So just by taking mock test after mock test is not going to help. Definitely that is the first step, but the first step is not going to have any much benefit unless we spend time in analyzing the paper after getting it done. कि कौन सा चीज right हुआ है, कौन सा चीज wrong हुआ है, why it has been right, why it has been wrong. Is it right for the right reasons or is it right for just by guesswork? So once they've completed the test, ask them to write down the weak areas, pattern of mistakes, and areas they're comfortable with. If you look at, if you take 4 or 5 mock tests, you'll be able to understand what is the pattern that is being followed, of mistakes that the child is doing. Maybe he's doing some silly mistakes. Maybe in a particular section of the subject, say mathematically algebra, he's consistently making those mistakes or not able to remember the formulas like that. So once they've completed the test, ask them to write down the weak areas, the pattern of mistakes, and areas they're comfortable with. This will help them in making better revision plans and improve their performance over time. So sometimes students also get confused in certain types of areas and lose marks, such as which formula to apply when, who was the last king, what is Newton's law of inertia. So to help them with this, you can advise them to create self-help aids like small sheets or stick-on papers or flashcards with mathematical formula, account formulas, physics laws, and they can stick all this with the study tip. You can also sit with them and take an oral test for such areas. And even writing them down without any help can also help them to remember those facts and figures which are required. Fifth, very important, motivate them with rewards. So your child could perform better if you can set targets for their entire preparation journey and reward each target with their favorite items. For example, Mr. Sharma, he divided his daughter's syllabus into small tasks by chapters. So on achieving each task, he rewarded his foodie daughter with her favorite food items. This is just an example of a short-term reward. He also promised to take her to her favorite holiday destination if she scored more than 90% in the exams. So rewards can be set for both the short term and the long term. Short-term goals could be like the example that I gave you of completion of specific chapters, improvement in performance on mocks, etc. And long-term goals could be scores on unit tests, pre-boards, prelims, etc. Together, my long-term goals can together help your child stay motivated along the entire preparation journey towards the board exam. It is also, gamifies it. Kind of gamify. Okay, if you do the, you get this. If you score so much marks, you'll get this plus this, something like that. So you can use your intuition or intelligence to gamify the whole process of learning for the child. And you could use anything that will motivate a child. It could be a new dress, tickets to a sport event, allowing them some time to watch their favorite TV show. But avoid giving punishments, however, as they generate a feeling of negativity and fear and rebellious nature also, especially in teens. The sixth point is discuss their exam strategy. It's very, very important that we discuss how they are planning to take the exam. So generally, when students take any paper, for example, if you take mathematics, algebra, geometry, and arithmetic, all are part of the paper, right? So a child may have certain strength in a particular section, or even a certain chapters or certain areas he is more good at. So it's best to answer them first, so that utne marks hamare secure ho. Then he can go to the medium part, and then finally he could go to those parts, which are tough for him. अगर उसको सारा पेपर ये easy लग रहा है तो he could go to those questions that could be answered quickly and that could fetch him maximum marks. So how to write answers, how to make answers presentable, which questions to attempt first, how to type the time divide between various sections. These are a few areas where a child might need help. Majority of students, 60 to 70% of students, they don't pay attention to the strategy of how they are going to take up the exam. Just focus on studying and just going to the exam directly. So because of this, they lose out on significant number of marks. At least 10% उनके marks कम हो जाते हैं. So it's very important that you sit with them and discuss these areas of how are they planning to plan and take the examination. Then comes 7 is remove distraction. You need to find out what is the thing that is distracting the child. There could be two kinds of distractions. One is internal distractions and one is external distractions. So music, chit chat, friends, morning walks, texts, every student has a particular distraction. All you need to is to find out if there is any distraction that is interfering with your child's studies. Now don't go and stop his hobby. If he's doing that hobby as a relaxing thing between the exam, that's completely fine. And no student can study completely throughout the day. So don't expect that your child board exam aa raha hai to wo 7 baje se raat ko 11 baje tak padhe. So that is not possible. You will have to take breaks, but basically it's very important to have focused study and focused attention. Like what I recommend to my student is that instead of sitting with your books from 7 a.m. in the morning to 11 in the night and hoping that your parents will be noticing you're studying and whether you're fiddling with the phone, you're going out 5 times, you're talking to this thing, you're searching something on the laptop, so in that way, you're spending so much of time, but productivity is very less. Instead of doing that, you just spend a chunk of 90 minutes, you lock yourself in a room and study straight for 90 minutes. And then again for 90 minutes, again for 90 minutes, like that. Have 3 to 4 sessions in a day, and that is sufficient. Even if you study 6 hours focused, to be better, you'll be able to save time for a lot of other extra activities, spend time with your parents, play a sport, do yoga, watch your favorite TV show. All these things could be possible. But the only thing is that during those 90 minutes, there should be no distraction except complete focused study. No mobile, no talking, nothing. So we need to identify the distraction. Yes, that's what I was saying. One student, Shankar, he had a habit of listening to music while studying. So he was not able to concentrate properly. This was affecting his retention as well. So his mother replaced the music with instrumental tones, and that helped him to learn better. He didn't remove the music altogether. So she suggested him he remove it, replace it with instrumental tones, and that can help. So you can thus deal with the problem and mitigating the situation instead of completely removing what your child likes. Another example let's look at another example. So Mr. Khanna, he was the daughter of a 16-year-old daughter who wrote her class 10 boards exams last year. So she had a habit of visiting a fresh friend every day and was losing out on precious time due to this. He was also addicted to several TV series. He advised his daughter to visit a friend on alternate days and asked them to watch the series together when they met. So this way he helped her save the time he was actually wasting earlier. Then comes listen to them after exams. So time after exam is a very crucial period. So this is a period where a child needs someone to share their feelings. Abhi prelims exams bhi ho sakte hain ya board exam bhi ho sakte hain. Right? So fears and anxieties about the paper and the impending result. ये question मैंने set किया कि नहीं किया, शायद ये question में मैंने answer लिखा कि नहीं लिखा पूरा, I didn't complete or not, I'm not able to remember, and let me check, the answer is there or not. So listen to the side of the story and give them the sweet time to discuss the paper without any judgment. Even if they perform well, they need a pat on the back. Even if they made a mistake, encourage them, empathize with them, but encourage them that they can do well in the next exam. Okay, and avoid scrutinize the paper at length to point out the mistakes that they committed. While we may think that this helps the child to learn from the mistakes, it does more harm than good by bringing down their morale, especially right after they have put in all their efforts into the examination, and maybe they have the next paper coming up in 1 to 3 days. Right? If you wish to help the child learn from the mistakes, do it 2 to 3 days after the examination. पूरा examination जब खत्म हो जाता है तब आप उसको कर सकते हो. Right? अगर बहुत ही urgent है, which you feel that to have an impact on his next examination, then do it using the right words. Okay. Avoid negative statements completely at all times, whether it is within the exam or after the exam, and focus on constructive feedback that could help the child. Okay, and understanding his strengths area. Maybe you are very good at mathematics or numbers, he may not be so good at that, but if he has done some mistakes in that, so understand and try to help him in the best possible way. Once they complete that question, ask them questions regarding the plan of action for the next exam. Because we need to look at the future. What is gone is gone. Now we need to look at the next step. Last but not the least, monitor and identify any warning signs. So no matter how well prepared a student is, they tend to feel anxious during exams and are worried about their results. So it is really important to ensure their mental well-being by checking with them at regular intervals. While being nervous or anxious to some extent is normal, but if the child is using negative statements such as "I can't do it," "I am a failure," "I won't be able to do anything," then it could be a cause for alarm. There are some other signs in the extreme cases such as loss of appetite, irregular sleeping pattern, irritated mood, anger issues, loss of patience, that could indicate that the child is not keeping well or is taking undue stress. So keep a check. If you observe any odd behavior or changes, it is the time for you to intervene. So talk to them about it or involve the sister or brother to help this particular. This is also very, very important as parents that need to be vigilant about these activities. So now, to sum up, we discussed these 9 points. First is help them to manage their time. Time management is very important. Second is being there for them, not hovering around them, but being there with them emotionally, even if not physically, is possible all the time. Though physical presence is also very, very important of a parent during the examinations and before the examinations also. Then third point is use the right words in your communication, even when correcting them or advising them. And fourth point, which we have, is monitor and help them create self-help aids that could help them remember certain formulas or dates and names, etc. Then motivate them with rewards. Set long-term and short-term goals that could help them be motivated to study. Next comes your discuss their exam strategy. How are they going to appear in the exam? What questions they are going to attempt? What is their strategy once the paper comes in front of them is very, very important to be discussed. Then remove distractions. Distractions are both external and internal. So internally something is distracting the child, help him to share it with you. If he is not comfortable sharing with you, maybe you can approach a career counselor or a counselor to discuss that if that is really bothering much, or maybe an elder family member or a sibling. It is very important to find out any reason for internal distraction. External distractions like mobile, TV, friends also should be identified and properly dovetailed as I give you examples earlier. Eighth point is listen to them after exam. Listen to them, empathize with them, understand what they are trying to say. Even if they are fearful, be with them, hold their hand and listen to them, not getting into too much of scrutinizing the paper step by step or trying to find out how he's going to get or what are the mistakes he made in depth, because that may affect his morale for the next exam. Last but not the least is identify any warning signs of anxiety or panic that he may have, which could be affecting his or her health. And it's very important that we also take care that he's properly eating, sleeping regularly on regular times, having good sleep, having good diet, and exercise is also very, very important to be checked. So be with them and let them grow. So every child is different and no one knows your child better than you do. It is great to be involved in helping a child with his or her preparations, but you should know where to draw a line. If a child feels you are interfering in their life at any point, please talk to them openly and give them space where needed. And where you feel that yes, it has to be, your involvement has to be there, it has to be there. So now Radhika's mother took home the point discussed here and put them to test. She first, you remember she was facing problem with the maths completing the maths paper. She first analyzed Radhika's answers and realized that she had the habit of solving the paper in a sequence. मतलब जैसे पेपर आया, first question से चालू कर देते solve. The first 10 questions carried 1 mark each, and the last section of the paper had questions carrying 6 marks each. So she was generally slow at the beginning of the paper and hence was spending more time on the 1 mark section. So this suggested her daughter to start with the last section first, by which she could invest more time on the section carrying more weightage. ये भी एक बहुत अच्छा strategy है which you can apply. जिस questions के ज़्यादा marks रहते हैं और आपको अच्छे से आते हैं उनको पहले attempt करना चाहिए. Now even if she missed out on some questions, there would be she would lose out on the fewer marks than earlier. So turns out this is actually Radhika's grades in all of her maths exams coming forward. So this was how Radhika's mom helped her daughter flourish. How about you? How are you going to use these tips to help your child enhance his or her growth? I would request all of you parents to share in the chat box what is that one thing that you would like to apply from this video. At least one tip that you would like to apply, or even multiple tips. And how are you going to empower your child, just like Radhika's mom did it? Because all of you are empowered parents. And to become a proud parent is a journey basically. This journey is very much possible, and we keep on learning.